Hey, Dusty, congratulations.
Thank you.
What does this mean for you to be coming back to the World Series, and what is it about this team you think that made it, so special that they're able to do this?
Well, I mean, this is our second year in a row, and it's hard to do. It's a long road to get here. There's a lot that happens in the months, to get here from spring training, and it means that we persevered and we stayed together, and we made the necessary trades when we had to try to strengthen certain parts of our team, and I mean, these guys are very close knit, bunch of guys, and that was on our minds. The whole spring training was getting back to this point, and it's a wonderful thing when you accomplish a goal, and so we got one more goal to go, and then we can set some new goals.
Daniel?
Dusty, for you individually, you've been in this game for so long, managing for 25 years and coming so close to the World Series title last year. Yeah. Just how hungry were you coming into the season to get that elusive ring?
Well, I stay hungry. And, most people are rooting for us, some people are rooting against us. Doesn't matter. That motivates you. Either way, there's a lot of positive thoughts coming our way. There's a ton of positive thoughts and spiritual togetherness in the city of Houston. It's galvanized our team. I've never seen a city so close to their players and always behind their players. Like I've never heard a crossword or anybody boo, in our town, the team, and that means a lot. I mean, that means an awful lot. That means that there's love and respect and togetherness there.
Dusty, why do you feel like this team is more well-equipped than last year's to win it all?
Well, number one, we got Lance McCullers that we didn't have and going into the World Series, and we have Justin Verlander going into the World Series that we didn't have. We have some young guys that have been there before. You look at Framberg, you look at Garcia, you look at Javier, and some of the young guys that have never been there before. And last year, Peña was on the taxi squad, and which he was paying attention and yearning to be on the team, to get to the World Series. And here he is now. A year ago, he was on the taxi squad. And now he's MVP, of the series. And so I think that's going to motivate some of the young kids that are on the taxi squad now. And these guys. We want it, and we earned it, and we think we deserve it. But it's not. Nobody's going to give it to you. You got to go out and take what you want.
Dusty, you mentioned Jeremy. Obviously replacing a very good player at shortstop.
Oh, yeah.
What has he meant for you that he was able to hold down that position all year and now be the MVP of the ALCS?
Well, I mean, he's had a lot of support. He has a lot of support from his mom and dad and from his teammates here. He's a very confident but humble young man. And, he's in a position where, people say it's hard to win with a young shortstop, catcher, and center fielder and young pitching staff, but I mean, he's grasped the situation, the responsibility of that. He's hitting second in the order and playing shortstop. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of work, and he hasn't shied away from it, and he's actually embraced it.
At the second row.
Dusty, apologies if this has been asked, but once again in the seventh inning, in this game, your team capitalized on an error from the Yankees and then went on to score those 2 runs that end up being decisive. What is it about this group of guys that you have that enable them to take advantage of those miscues and then turn them into wins?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, you can't always do that, but it's a thought process that you have. And to a man almost, they were saying, hey, boys, there's our break. You know what I mean? And if you think this is a break, you can turn it into a break. It starts with a thought process. It's like, even if it's not a break, you got to pretend that it's a break. And then next thing you know, boom, we got 2 runs out of it. And, the power of positive thinking can take you, and the power of belief can take you a long ways into great heights.
And just a quick follow-up. Obviously, this is probably the most competitive game of the series, still a sweep. But what was it about, what is it about your team that you guys were able to bounce back, keep punching back, and not worry that like the Yankees might steal one. Instead, you guys were able to just close it out in 4.
Well, the thing about this team is that, they don't panic. They never panic. They try to find a way. And, it was early in the game. You'd rather have that happen to you early in the game because you got time to come back and rebound. But it helped us. We could tell that something was wrong with Nestor because, we've never seen him throw that many balls. Usually he has pinpoint control. And so that helped us a lot. I mean, you hate to see a quality guy like him hurt, but but you got to take advantage, of that situation, and you got to take advantage. You're looking for an edge always, so that helped us a lot, and I hope that Nestor's okay because he was on the All-Star team with me, and Judge and Holmes, and you're not supposed to like the opposition, but those are quality guys, Stanton, and they got a great team over there, and the guy that came over that I feel close to and close to his dad was Booney, and so they're not going anywhere. They're gonna be around for a long time.
Take a couple more for Dusty. Pete.
Dusty, your thoughts on the World Series and facing the Phillies?
Well, the Phillies, they can hit, and they got a couple top of the rotation type pitchers. They got their bullpen together. They play good defense. And as you saw, they don't quit. And when when they were in town that last series, there's a knock on my door and on the back door, and nobody knocks on the back door, and it was Bryce Harper, and he came in and sat down, and we talked for a long period of time. I wished him well. I didn't know how well, but I wished him well, and he told me, he says, "Hey man, they're going to go for it," and because everybody was picking St. Louis over them and whoever was playing them. But hey, man, they got some quality guys. You get this far, they got the same belief over there that we have over here. So I'm sure it's going to be a great series.
Finish up with Daniel.
Dusty, you touched on Jeremy's humility and just how he's kind of handled everything, and the comparisons are obviously natural given that he's filling the shoes of a big void in Carlos and everything. But how well equipped do you think he was able to do that given the humility and how he's handled everything?
Well, I think he's very equipped, knowing his mom and dad, because he comes from a great family. He comes from a baseball family. His mom was actually got mad at me a little bit because he didn't play in Boston, and there were a bunch of people from Providence, Rhode Island, his town. I actually had to explain. Have you ever had to explain something to somebody's mama? It's like, and I was like, Mama, he's hurt. You know what I mean? That's why he's not playing. And so, but I think it's important that Carlos pass the torch, to him, because I've seen some players don't pass the torch. They pass some dynamite, and but Carlos passed the torch, and was a mentor, to him, and this is what baseball and life is, is all about, rooting for somebody else, because there's a lot of jobs out there. And, we wanted to keep Carlos. Carlos wanted to stay, couldn't get things together. But the organization also felt that Peña was the right guy for the job. And he's exceeded expectations.
And then one more real quick. How special do you think it was to just win the series here for guys like Altuve and Bregman and kind of the treatment that they've gotten here and to just kind of quiet out that crowd? Well,
they got better treatment here this time than in previous times here. And so maybe it's a different crowd, or maybe the crowd has finally forgiven things of the past. I was on a radio show with CC Sabathia. He's from my hometown and went to my baseball school when he was a kid, and it seems like CC has sort of buried that axe too, which helped, the whole town, I think, bury the axe.